Hey there, friends, and welcome to episode 336 of Just the Zoo of Us. This week, I am joined by a scientist from Louisiana State University for a review of the iconic crustacean known and loved by many names, the crawfish. We discuss sea hare ink, a genetically modified super soldier kaiju battle, the taxonomic classifications of rocks, bugs, and squishy bags, the perils of growing up under the tail of a cannibal mom, and so much more. Just the Zoo of Us presents Crawfish with Jack Koch. It's Ellen Weatherford with Just the Zoo of Us, your favorite animal review podcast. I am so excited because this week I get to learn about a critter that is very like a cultural icon, I feel like almost. It has a really interesting role in people's lives. I feel like people have very strong positive feelings with this animal, but one that I know nothing about, which I'm very excited for. This week we have a brand new friend to tell us about this animal. This is Jack Koch. Say hi, Jack.
Hey, everybody.
And Jack, you are coming to us from pretty much the crawfish capital of the world.
Oh yeah, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. This is the place.
Jack, how did you get involved in the research that you do at LSU?
Yeah, so I'm an assistant professor at the Louisiana State University Agricultural Center, and my background is as a biologist. So I studied sea anemone symbiosis for my PhD and a little bit in my undergraduate. And after I finished my PhD, I had the opportunity to move to Louisiana to work on an invertebrate called a sea hare. You may be familiar with them.
Love this!
Yeah. And the center that I work at, the Aquatic Germplasm and Genetic Resources Center, we help protect the genetic resources and germplasm of aquatic species all over the world. My background is as an invertebrate biologist, so it was natural for me to come work on the sea hares. We also work on shrimp, sea urchins, sea anemones, and obviously crawfish, like we'll talk about today. So it's just another animal that needs help protecting what's out there.
So a purely boneless, you're doing boneless biology.
Exactly.
For people who don't know what a sea hare is, could you introduce those just a little bit? I know that's not our main topic for today, but I had never heard of them until I saw a video of one on TikTok or something. And it was the sort of thing where I had to scour it to see. I was like, there's no way this is real. This has to be AI or CGI or something. This is not real.
Yeah, absolutely. So imagine a giant slug as big as an American football. And they're called sea hares because they have two structures called rhinophores that look like rabbit ears that they use to sense the environment. They're related to snails and octopuses. When they're little, they have a snail shell. They crawl around, and as they grow up, that snail shell becomes less and less until it's just like a shield on their back underneath some some tissue that protects their vital organs.
Oh, see, I had no idea that they had a shell at any point in their life, because I feel like I've only really seen a few pictures and videos of them, and every time I see them, I'm like, who is that?
Yeah, and just like octopus and squid, they can ink.
Really?
The sea hare that I work with, and I'll just stay within my lane here, Aplysia californica, they have this beautiful purple ink that they can eject when they are disturbed.
Did you ever get inked?
I think I've made one ink before.
Aww. I guess that's a hazard of the job, I suppose. You're going to get inked.
Exactly, right?
As a kid, I remember in school one time we did a squid dissection where we could find the ink gland and draw with the ink. Could you draw with it, you think?
I guess so. Like I said, it's really beautiful purple, so it would be, squid ink is usually black.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could probably draw with it.
Artistic inspiration out there.
There you go.
For any artists listening, get your hands on some sea hare ink. To back up just a little bit more, because you mentioned something else interesting about your PhD work with, it was sea anemones? Mm-hmm. Could you talk about that a little bit more? I think you mentioned symbiosis. What were you looking at with sea anemones?
Yeah, so to set the stage, corals, they build reefs all over the world. They're highly productive ecosystems. Corals are this like really tiny little animal that build these massive ecosystems that we can see from space. They join in symbiosis with microalgae, and they provide some nutrients to microalgae. Then microalgae provides nutrients back, so it's usually mutualistic. But corals are really difficult to work with in the laboratory. You need special equipment. They're endangered in the wild, so bringing them into the laboratories, you need a bunch of permits and permissions. And so wouldn't it be nicer if we could use another animal to study some aspects of coral biology? And so there are some sea anemones that join in the same symbiotic relationship as corals do, so sea anemone and microalgae. And so we can bring them into the laboratory. They're easy to keep. And we can study those aspects of symbiosis and apply it to corals. There's one in particular, Aptasia is its common name for all the nerds out there. It's X. Aptasia diaphana, and it's a pest for aquarists. Aquarists do not like Aptasia because it takes over their tanks, which is actually a benefit for doing research with it. It's really cool. We could do a whole hour talking about that.
You ever just hit somebody up, hit up a fish store and you're like, hey, if you've got a bunch of these laying around, please hit me up. I will come get them.
Yeah, and the fish stores usually have really big individuals because they're feeding their fish high quality food. And you're like, can I have your Aptasia? And they're like, why would you want these?
They're like, do you want my garbage too?
Yeah, exactly.
Should I give you my compost bin? What are you talking about? I wanted to step back even further a little bit because I feel like crawfish are an animal that a lot of people probably have fond memories of. Personally, I did not grow up in a crawfish heavy area, so I do not have this experience, but I believe you kind of do. So I would love to know if crawfish have been a part of your life, throughout your life, or if this was a later in life, you find your way to them later. What is your relationship to not just crawfish, but biology and animals in general? I feel like you don't get to being an invertebrate biologist without an interesting relationship with nature when you were younger. So what was your journey alongside nature like?
I'll tell two stories here. So the first one is my childhood house had a creek running out front, and sometimes it would be very dry and other times there'd be a lot of water running through it. But I would go down to the creek with buckets and nets, and I would bring back frogs, salamanders, tadpoles, newts, and crawfish. And my mom would be like, or my parents would be like, you can't keep all these, you got to go put them back. But I would do that every day after school. I would just go down there and collect whatever I could. And I probably didn't have an interest in the biology side of it as much.
No, those are just creatures.
Yeah, it was just fun to catch creatures, right?
Who doesn't like a creature?
Yeah, snakes, I was catching snakes and lizards, right? And so that was just natural.
You were surveying. That was
Exactly.
You were practicing.
Except for I wasn't taking any notes. And then during the summer, we would take a family trip to the beach. I grew up in North Carolina. It's 2 hours to the beach. And I would bring a seine net with me. If you've never seen a seine net before, just imagine a big rectangular net that can be, the one I used was maybe 10 feet long, but they can be hundreds of feet long. They can be really, really big. And I'd get whoever in my family would come out into the surf in the beach with me to seine the surf. We'd bring up fish and jellyfish and sand crabs, lots of cool stuff. And so this really sparked my love for the outdoors, and invertebrates just happened along the way.
Did any of those animals ever fight back? Did you ever come home with some weird injuries because you're I got pinched by a crab or stung by a jellyfish?
Probably. In fact, this morning I was messing with one of the crawfish and it pinched me and it cut my finger. It
kind of sounds like you had it coming though if you were messing with them.
Right, yeah. I was trying to get it out of its little house and anyways, probably. But, the jellyfish you don't see them floating in the water. You just feel them. You're it's something itchy, right? Whereas a crab, you can see it running around. And
did the anemones ever get you?
Interestingly, the anemones, they have stinging cells like jellyfish, but I don't actually know the biological reason behind this, but maybe they can penetrate your skin. They feel sticky to you. So you can touch it and feel it sticky.
Right, yeah,
but you never have an effect by it.
We're not their target, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So for people who maybe like me did not really grow up with crawfish as a big part of their life and maybe are a little unfamiliar with them, could you introduce us? What exactly is a crawfish?
Sure. So they're crustaceans.
Not a fish. So
Not a fish.
neither a craw nor a fish. So I would say
You're right.
we're 0 for 2 on that.
People are probably more familiar with crabs or lobsters as crustaceans that you run into more often, like in the grocery store. Crawfish isn't something you're going to see in the grocery store unless you live
Why
in, like...
is that? Is there a reason for that?
I'm not sure.
Are they just not like culturally common, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, like in Louisiana, crawfish is a huge cultural centerpiece of the region. You know, crawfish that most people probably think about is the red swamp crawfish, and it's native to the Louisiana, Mississippi River area.
Are they big or are they little?
Anywhere from maybe like an adult, 2 inches up to maybe like 4 inches.
Oh, that is pretty big, actually. That's bigger than I was
Yeah.
thinking. I was thinking like little shrimp size.
No, yeah, they can get pretty big.
You mentioned that you would find these in the Mississippi River area, particularly in Louisiana. Are there other places in the world that you would find crawfish?
Yeah, so there's something like, let's just say like 700 species of crawfish in the world.
Wow.
And there's maybe a couple hundred species in the United States. So there's a pretty big diversity of crawfish around the world. So if you are in Australia, they call them yabbies.
Oh, interesting.
So, people in Australia may not be familiar with red swamp crawfish. One of the interesting things about red swamp crawfish is that they're invasive in many parts of the world.
Uh-oh. Well, you guys are welcome. I mean...
Right? So, like in Southeast Asia, there's a lot of crawfish farms where they grow red swamp crawfish and package their tail meat up to send all around the world. But if you go to like Oregon, the red swamp crawfish, or there's a number of other crawfish species that are invasive, are pushing out native crawfish species.
Living in Washington, our freshwater ecosystems tend to be pretty sensitive. Like an invasive species can really do a lot of damage, especially if it is one that is like well adapted to moving streams. Although our water is pretty cold up here. Are they sensitive at all to the temperature?
Yeah. And I think the signal crawfish is probably signal and rusty. Those might be the two that are more of a concern up in Oregon and Washington. But so yeah, like if we think about the seasonality of red swamp crawfish here in Louisiana, they come out of their burrows. We're getting into the biological side here for a minute, but they come out of the burrows in like January, February, March, and as that temperature warms up, they become more active. And sometimes we get some warm temperature and then it gets really cold, and so their activity drops down for a little bit and the harvest is slower. So yeah, they're absolutely sensitive to temperature.
What does your work with crawfish at LSU look like? What are you like studying about them?
All right, so I mentioned earlier that our mission is to help protect the genetic resources of aquatic species. And let's take the word germplasm for a second. We define germplasm as any type of cellular material that can be used to create another organism. So most people think of eggs and sperm, but we can also do cell cultures. We can do embryos or larvae, and in some cases we can do whole animals.
Wow.
So we take this word germplasm and we look at it pretty holistically. Now, let's talk about crawfish. We'll stay on theme here. The crawfish industry, several $100 million every year in economic input. And right now, farmers, people that grow crawfish, aquaculture, they collect crawfish from someone else's pond or from the wild, and they put them in their pond. But we can imagine a scenario in the future where somebody develops a crawfish that is drought resistant or maybe can live in colder climates, right?
Not the genetic super soldier.
Yeah,
the
right?
sci-fi like Captain America crawfish.
But exactly, the super soldier, right? You make this really good crawfish that maybe it makes more tail meat for you or tastes better, right?
Which we've been known to do. We like to make we like to make them tasty.
But for many aquatic species, that investment, that time that people have taken to make those super soldiers is not protected. And so a hurricane comes through, a drought comes through, and that gets wiped out. And so that's the basis for what we do at the Aquatic Germplasm Genetic Resources Center. And that's one of the parts of this project that we have with crawfish is figuring out how we can protect their genetic resources. And there's an industry that relies on crawfish to make money. And so everything we're doing here, we're doing in connection with the industry, right? We've reached out to farmers and people and said, what do you guys need? And we're sort of ahead of the game here a little bit because, like I just said, this industry is based on wild caught crawfish replenishing what's in ponds or going out into the basin and catching wild caught crawfish. And so there's not this like traditional aquaculture improved genetics right now, but we're trying to get ahead of it so that in the future, if something does come up, they are ready for it.
That's interesting. It seems like, is it kind of like protecting the sort of like sustainability of crawfish harvesting?
Yeah. And red swamp crawfish, like we're not worried about them going extinct. But again, somebody discovered a type of crawfish that they really want to grow for many generations into the future. How can we keep that around for that group of people that want that?
It seems to me like there would be a lot of conservation applications for that. I know that you mentioned that like this is more on the industry side of things, but I feel like even though it is in the service of industry, it does feel like there would be really like huge conservation potential there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, we don't just work with aquaculture groups. We also work with conservation, wild fisheries, and biomedical. So I mentioned that there are these invasive crawfish, and they are pushing out native crawfish. So this work that we're doing would absolutely have application to other species of crawfish in the conservation world.
Just make the native crawfish into the super soldiers, and then you could have a sort of kaiju battle in the river.
It sounds like a good video game idea.
Oh, yeah! Now we're talking!
Build your own crawfish and battle it out.
But you can give them all these like crazy attachments and stuff. You can give them like drills for arms and like chainsaws and jetpacks and stuff.
All right, I'm on board.
Okay, I had one more question before getting into the ratings. Hopefully this is something you can help clear up for people who aren't familiar with the lingo, the vocab. I have heard about 10 different names for these creatures, and it often becomes heated debate whether they are called crawfish, crayfish, crawdaddies. Like, I've heard a million different things to call these fish. What are they? I keep saying fish because fish is in the name. I need you to know I don't think that they're fish. Please.
I mean, they kind of do flop around like fish sometimes, so it's okay.
It's giving fish a little bit. But what are these things called?
Right, so they are all crayfish.
Okay, so crayfish is a big
Biologically,
group.
They are crayfish, yeah. And then you get into some differences based on region. Like I said, in Australia, they call them yabbies. Here in Louisiana, you hear crawfish, mud bugs, right?
Mud bugs, that's great. I love that.
All these different variations. And then you get into other things like common names. So the common name for Procambrius clarki is red swamp crawfish. We eat it, and most of the time you associate this industry, the red swamp crawfish industry, with that word crawfish instead of red swamp crayfish.
Mudbug is great because I feel like this is tapping into the debate as to whether shrimp is bugs.
This is funny because my boss, he's a fish biologist, and he recognizes invertebrates in one of three categories: bugs, rocks, and squishy bags. And so your bugs,
that's it. That's all the guys.
That's it. You can be an expert invertebrate biologist by just knowing whether it's a rock, a bug, or a squishy thing.
There are some, I'm thinking of some, and I'm like, I know exactly which one that is. Now, where are we at on starfish? Where are we putting starfish?
Oh, gosh.
Is this a rock or is this a squishy bag? It's like rock with squishy bag on the bottom almost.
Yeah, because like oysters are rocks.
But there's a squishy bag inside.
Yeah, I think his category
is this the missing link in the sort of like.
I'll ask him about how he classifies starfish.
And then we've got snails, a squishy bag with a rock on the back.
Yeah, I think we put them in the squishy bag category.
They're squishy bag, yeah. An honorary squishy bag. So I'm feeling like crawfish are falling squarely in bug.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think that shrimps is bugs?
Yeah, shrimp go with bugs too.
But I do like that there is a common name for them honoring that. I do feel like mudbug is super fun to say. I do like that name, and I think I'd never heard of it before, but I think I'm going to keep it.
Most of the times you find them in the mud.
If this is anyone's first time listening to this podcast, our whole deal is that we rate animals out of 10. And the first category that we rate animals on is effectiveness. These are things built into the animal's body that let it do a good job of the things that they're trying to do, like find food or not become food themselves. So, Jack, what do you give crawfish out of 10 for effectiveness?
I had to think about this a lot.
You had to look them in the eyes, too.
They're compound eyes.
So you really had to move around to get eye contact.
Yeah. I think I have to give them a 10.
That's crazy. Okay, what are they up to down there?
So I think we first have to start with their color.
Ooh.
And crawfish come in a variety of colors. Some of them are like drab brown. They can be like blue, orange, purple. And it doesn't necessarily like mean something about the color. Sometimes it's genetic, but sometimes it's like pigments that are in the crawfish. But you just go through these different colors and you get like camouflage, you get signaling, you get mate attraction, you get maybe predation. In nature, usually bright colored things are distasteful. Like, why would you be bright orange or bright blue?
Right, you're trying to hide, so like
exactly,
it's like wearing a high-vis like construction vest.
Yeah, like here I am, but nature has a way of don't eat me.
I'll pinch you.
Not tasty. All right, so you got color. So I think color is a contributing factor. They have pincers, right? Claws, chelae, whatever word you want to use. And like I mentioned, they got me this morning. They are effective.
Did it hurt? Does it hurt real bad?
Yeah, it's just more like, once they pinch you, a lot of times they don't want to let go. And you're like, I'm not holding on to you anymore. Please let go, sort of thing. But it's fair.
I've been pinched by a hermit crab. And the hermit crab did like cling to me and not want to let go. It's not fun. It's enough to make you not want to do it again. So I will say it's an effective predator deterrent.
Fair, right.
I was deterred.
You were deterred. They can grow their claws back. So if they lose a claw...
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Sometimes you're in like a territory dispute and you lose a claw, or maybe a fish comes up and bites your claw. You just you can have my claw. They just grow it back in a couple molt cycles.
Sit this one out. You'll get the next one, champ.
Exactly. And then they have a pretty cool tail.
Ooh.
I don't know if anyone has picked up a live shrimp, and, you're like, oh, look, the shrimp, it doesn't do anything. And then all of a sudden, like, beats its tail and it flops 10 feet in the air. Crawfish have the same powerful tail. It's one of their defense mechanisms. If they need to get out of a situation real quick, they just flap their tail once or twice and they move multiple body lengths out of the way.
Oh, is that why they kind of like curl their tail? Is that what they're doing?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it was a catapult.
Yeah.
It's for flinging.
It's pretty cool. And then I think the last thing, crawfish are cool, is that they're decapods. So deca meaning 10 and pods meaning feet. They have 10 feet or 5 pairs. And that's just cool. Like if you lose a foot, you still got 9 more.
I got feet to spare, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not sweating 1 foot.
Exactly.
And they do feel like sort of scrawny little feet. So I do feel like they're like, I can lose a couple.
You're right. Their foot to body ratio is maybe a little low.
Aside from people, what is coming after crawfish? What do they have to worry about?
Fish. We work with one crawfish farmer who, instead of growing crawfish for human consumption, I think he does as well, he sells crawfish for bass ponds.
Oh.
So if you want prize-winning bass in your ponds that people can go fish for, you stock your ponds with crawfish and the bass get fat and happy.
Like even like the adult crawfish? Or are they just kind of eating like the larva or what?
They eat the adults.
Oh, bass are a lot bigger than I thought they were.
Yeah. Our catfish, we have catfish at work, and they also love eating adult crawfish.
It sounds like crawfish, aside from just being like a tasty, delicious snack, it sounds like they have an important role in the ecosystem, because it sounds like there's a lot of larger predators that rely on them. Yeah, birds, owls, I'm sure, like minks and otters. Otters seem like they would grief them for fun. Probably. I've seen otters doing some diabolical things for fun, so I feel like otters would probably just like rage bait them. I wouldn't be surprised if snakes eat them too. You can see just like a crawfish-shaped lump moving down the body of the snake. Hey y'all, we're going to take a quick break to hear from our friends on the Maximum Fun Network. When we get back, we are going to talk ingenuity and aesthetics for crawfish, so stay with us.
Thank you to all the Max Fun members who supported us during Max Fun Drive. You're helping us as we try to put more good into the world. And as part of putting more good into the world, we've opened our annual post-drive charity sale. Max Fun members at $10 per month or more can purchase Max Fun Drive keychains featuring designs for shows across the network. And all members can buy our charity-exclusive keychain starring Mikey, our little microphone buddy from this year's Max Fun Drive. This year, we've decided to send the proceeds of the charity sale to the Center for Constitutional Rights. They're dedicated to the creative use of law as a positive force for social change, tackling issues like human rights abuses, racial injustice, and sexual and gender-based violence. These folks are fighting to make things better. So to get your keychains and support the Center for Constitutional Rights, head to MaximumFun.org/charity sale. And if you're not yet a member, you can still get in on this. To support the show you're listening to and get access to bonus content and the charity sale, just click the link in the show notes. The sale is live now, and it ends on Friday, May 15th. That's MaximumFun.org/charity sale. And thanks again.
Sleep is important, but it's difficult sometimes. I'm John Moe. On Sleeping with Celebrities, famous people help conk you out by talking in soothing voices about unimportant things. Maria Bamford on parking.
I parked in a bus stop. That's just not right. I am not a bus.
Roxanne Gay on airports.
My favorite airport is Indianapolis. It has a really smart layout.
Alan Tudyk on yardsticks.
You hand somebody a yardstick, yardsticks become part of the family.
Granted, it's a weird idea, but it's lots of fun, and it works. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
The next category that we rate animals on is ingenuity. It's behaviors, ways that the animal is like navigating their world, maybe solving problems that they face. You get to be up close and personal with them on a daily basis. I feel like who better is going to have insight into the way a crawfish is navigating the world. What do you give them out of 10 for ingenuity?
Oh, I think they also are rated pretty high, but I can't give them a 10 because we've already used a 10.
I will say this is your episode. If you want to give them 10 is fine. But also, if you want to keep them humble.
We'll give them an 8. How about that?
Okay.
Red swamp crawfish, they burrow. And so if you're ever in Louisiana or Mississippi and you look on the side of the road and you see like mud, piles of mud, it looks like a little mud chimney. Those are crawfish that made those. And they need a way to, interface between the water table below and the air above, and they make these burrows, which are really cool. So if you have a drought and the water table is getting lower and lower, the crawfish can dig down and maintain a moist environment because they have gills, so they breathe in the water. So they can build these really elaborate burrow systems that allow them to live during the cold months and during the hot months.
Can they get a little bit of a distance away from like a body of water, or do they still need to kind of be like where the tide would rise and fall?
They can be pretty far from where you would expect water to be.
Oh, wow.
The building that I work in, we're a couple hundred yards from the Mississippi River, and right next to our parking lot, I've seen crawfish burrows, and there's no body of water like around us. They have to dig down to moisture down there. So yeah, they can be pretty far from water.
I guess I didn't even imagine them being out of water ever.
Yeah, and they're not like the best at being out of water, but they crawl in between ponds. They can grow up, maybe a mile, walk between ponds.
Going full bug. They've gone full bug. Now they're skittering. Once you skitter, you're true bug.
Yeah.
I think that's taxonomically what counts as a bug if you skitter.
If you skitter?
Yeah, skittering makes you bug.
That should be on the checklist of when you describe a new bug, does it skitter?
And that's the only box. That's the only box on the checklist.
Okay.
Sorry, armadillos. You're bugs now.
They do skitter. I mean, I'd say squirrels probably skitter too, so.
Dang, sorry, squirrels. Welcome to the bug fam.
We're reorganizing the tree of life.
Yeah. That's my personal vibes-based taxonomy. when you are working with these crawfish, I am curious to know how much of the world around them they are able to perceive. Like, what are they perceiving of the world around them? Could they see you?
I mean, I guess they see me. I was thinking about this earlier. You know, we perceive the world through our eyes and we see one set of colors. Some people are colorblind, so they have, like, let's say some filters that they can't see certain colors. Animals see the world in, like, a completely different way, and crawfish have compound eyes, so I don't know what colors they perceive, but I assume that they have pretty good vision to understand what's going on around them. In addition to their eyes, they have a pair of antennae, so they're doing some chemical sensing and feeling. If you have a dog or cat, they have whiskers, and they know what spaces they can fit in based on their whisker length. So, I mean, I think they're pretty good at understanding the world around them and knowing what's going on.
I feel like I've seen pictures of crawfish in unexpected situations, but they're usually just like a crawfish that would be like walking across the road or something where you're like, what are you doing here?
Which totally happens. Like, you'd be driving down the roads in Louisiana and you see like a little bug crossing the street. It's a crawfish.
Other places have beetles and,
we have crawfish that are crossing the road. We should get some crawfish crossing signs around here.
Oh, those would get stolen.
Absolutely, but
immediately
it's definitely
they'd be stolen.
A missed opportunity for Louisiana.
Sell them in gift shops, sell them at the visitor center.
Maybe someone's already made it.
Probably. That almost certainly exists. Hey, that's good. I'm actually going to have to cut this out because this is going to be our new merch line.
There you go.
Do crawfish get along with each other, or are they not big fans of being close to each other?
They are territorial. So we keep our crawfish in a big trough. We were first keeping all of our crawfish just like free range in the trough, but they eat each other. They're cannibals.
Oh, no loyalty.
No, absolutely not. I mean, eventually you get like a low enough density that they maintain their little territory and they will leave each other alone. But yeah, they absolutely eat each other. So you
made the Hunger Games for crawfish.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Battle Royale. That's how you make your super soldier right there.
So we've 3D printed them little houses.
Oh, they have little apartments.
So each one gets a little house, and they don't eat each other, which is helpful.
The crawfish hotel.
And then you know who's who, right? They all have a number. So if you are going to do an experiment, if you're collecting cells from one crawfish or another, you know who got collected from.
You're like, that's Jerry. Ignore him. He's on one today.
Although we do avoid actual names.
I suppose that's too many to name purely.
There's a couple hundred of them. I wouldn't know who's who.
That's going to be your project one day. You got to sit down and give every single one of them its own name.
Oh gosh, I think I have to leave that to other people.
I really like when pet shelters and stuff, you can tell that they just needed to come up with a name for a bunch of cats, and they'll be like, this one is named Beefy Bean Burrito, and this one is named Stapler, and this one
Pretzel.
Yeah. No, Pretzel actually is a really good name for a cat.
That is a good name.
Dang! Oh shoot! It was supposed to be a bit. One of the things that you prepared for me, which I am so delighted by, is you sent me some photographs that you took of a crawfish with babies, a million billion little babies. Can you tell me what's going on here?
Yeah, so let me pull it up so we can get it together. So crawfish, we're going to go down the biological rabbit hole here.
Perfect.
The males produce something called the spermatophore, which is a package of sperm that they adhere to the female, and the female takes it in and stores it separately from the eggs.
Love the idea that he's do with this as you will.
Exactly. And sometimes a female will mate with multiple males, and there's some animals out there that there's evidence where the female can make choices of which sperm to use. Out of a bunch of different males, she can choose which male she wants to fertilize her eggs with.
This is a very civilized process, it sounds like, for these crawfish.
Very civilized. So the female extrudes eggs and mixes this gluey mess of sperm and passes the eggs through that area and fertilizes them. And then she adheres the eggs to her tail. And they have swimmerettes under the tail. I thought about pulling a picture for you, but just imagine She has a bunch of tiny, like, little feathers that are attached to the bottom side of her tail.
It does look feathery, like a little feather skirt almost, like a fringed skirt.
Yeah, exactly. So she adheres the eggs onto those. She uses her glare glands to make this glue. And there can be a couple hundred eggs under a red swamp crawfish tail. And she uses her swimmerettes, or the area that the eggs are attached to. She, like, waves them through the water column to keep them oxygenated, and the eggs develop there, and eventually they hatch. So you see here, this picture that we're looking at is of, these are hatched baby crawfish, and they're miniature versions of crawfish, and they hang on to the mother until they molt a couple of times, and then they, disperse. Otherwise the mom will eat them. They'll eat each other, things like that.
Is that why they have to hang out at the tail? Because if they're too close to the face, she might nibble a few.
Interesting. I've never thought about that, but that's probably maybe what's going on.
You don't want to be too close to the mouth parts, because
exactly. Maybe she'll forget about us if we're back here.
Yeah, they're actually hiding from her. Like, for the humans, it looks like, oh, how sweet, she's carrying her babies around, she cares for them so much. And for them, they're like, if we stay quiet.
It's so funny because there's just like a lot of little bugs that are attached to her tail. She just walks around with all these little bugs attached to her.
It does look, I will say that I feel like there's a sweet spot of, if you look at it from like too far away, it just looks like a squirming mass, and it is very body horror. It's very disturbing. It's awful. But like, if you look closely enough where you can see the babies and their big round eyes, if you're close enough, it loops around to being cute.
Yeah.
But like from too far away, you're like, ooh, stop it.
You don't know what's going on.
Oh, gross, stop it. But you also sent me a lot of pictures of, is it the same crawfish carrying eggs, or is it a different one?
It's a different one. These are partially developed. So on some of them you can see there's like two very small black dots. Those are the eyes.
Oh.
And the term that some people use for this is berried, like a fruit. Berry.
Oh,
B-E-R-R-Y.
That's funny. Yeah. They do kind of look like
they kind of
little
like
berries.
But yeah, you can see all of the structure here where the eggs hold on to, and they're like fingers. They like move them through the water column, like a wave.
Gross.
And they aerate the babies.
Well, so it does kind of sound like the mother at least is like providing some, not just protection, but a little bit of actual like care for the eggs and the hatchlings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I do think sounds like more parental care than we usually hear about from invertebrates. From invertebrates, it sounds like they're usually like, hey, what happens to you after I lay the eggs that's a you problem.
You're right. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So if we go back to the sea hare, like they lay eggs and then who cares? They crawl somewhere else.
No longer my problem. I will catch you guys later. Do hit me up if you reach adulthood.
Yeah. Good luck. 1% of you might see you again.
It sounds like the crawfish is providing a good bit more parental care than I feel like we usually see in invertebrates, which is very interesting. Is that like a crustacean thing, or is it kind of unique to them?
Lobsters and crabs do the same thing.
That's interesting, though. I don't know, they seem more involved parents than I expected them to be.
Absolutely.
Now, the last category that we rate animals on is aesthetics. It's just how nice this animal is to look at, whether you think they're cute or beautiful or cool or none of the above. Maybe you think they're hideous monsters. And also, I will say, because this animal has such a strong association with culinary, applications, I think we can include that in here. So straight from the heart, what would you give crawfish out of 10 for aesthetics?
Personally, I like them, so I have to give them over a 5. But a lot of people are like kind of nervous about them. So 7.5. Let's go.
That seems fair.
A good average, right? But I would probably give them a 10
for yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an invertebrate guy, right? So I feel like your baseline is maybe a little different than the layperson.
I'm biased.
You can be biased here. This is your episode. It's about you.
They're very popular in the aquarium world. Like, people love having crayfish in their aquarium because they come in all these really cool colors, electric blue, orange, right? But then, if they come at you like this, they raise their claws, and
which is silly and adorable.
but also kind of nerve-wracking, right?
That's true. That's true.
So-
If you're already not a huge fan of the bug aesthetic, then the fact that they're like actively hostile towards you might they're like visibly attacking you, so I do feel like that is not working in the crawfish's favor.
So it's fun.
I think they're pretty cute. I mean, when you zoom in, they do have big round eyes, which I think is cute. I think the swinging the claws in the air is adorable. Like, there's something about it that's like they're trying so hard to be like menacing and threatening, and I'm just like, oh, you little scamp.
And then it's a bug, like, oh, I could just squish you with my foot.
like you're like 2 inches long. What are you doing? Now, do you like to eat crawfish?
Yes, they're very tasty.
Do you have a favorite dish involving crawfish?
Ooh, I mean, I just really like the boiled crawfish with the sausage and the corn and the potatoes, onions.
Oh, like a
mushrooms.
low country boil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the crawfish étouffée is very popular around here, and it's also very delicious. I mean, anything with crawfish tails is pretty good.
I do get where people who are like hesitant towards bugs and shrimp come from, because like as a kid, I'm better about it now that as an adult I've learned a lot more about invertebrates and about fish, and like I've learned enough to not feel so nervous around them. But like as a kid, I was like terrified of shrimp, crabs, lobsters, anything like that, where like if I was at dinner with someone who got shrimp on their plate, it like made me nervous.
And for me, I'm the complete opposite. Like,
you're like, can I get some of that actually?
Yeah. Crab and lobster was one of my favorite foods growing up, and then every chance that I got to eat it, I would. It's interesting because the crayfish, they're kind of small, and most of what you eat is the tail. Sometimes you can get meat out of the claws. You could take the head region of the crawfish and you could boil it and get like a really nice, like a broth. But most people are just like ripping off the tails and eating the tail meat. And if you've never done that before, you may think, wow, this is a lot of work for not a lot of payoff.
Yeah.
But it's more than just the food. It's the company and the celebration that makes it really great.
First of all, we love a snacktivity.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I like a high effort food. I like having something to do. It's very engaging. But also, it does feel like a cultural thing, you know? Like it feels like something that makes you feel like embedded in a place, right? This is not just like food and flavors and seasonings and stuff, but like also it's an animal that's native to the area. So like, I don't know, I feel like it feels like a dish that is like deeply associated with like a region that just makes you feel like present in a place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, how often do you get to dump your food directly on a table and spread it out?
Oh, with the butcher paper and stuff, and you just...
Yeah.
I have participated in a low country boil. As someone who does not eat it, I got to help make it. And I will say, it was pretty fun.
Are you a no, like if something's been cooked in seafood?
Yeah,
broth?
I don't like the flavor of it. I couldn't have
right.
any of it.
Oh.
I felt like cooking it was really fun because like it's putting everything in a big, huge stock pot, and like you got to kind of keep it simmering, and you got to kind of like stir the seasonings in and stuff. So I felt like it was fun. And then, yeah, like you mentioned, like getting to pour everything out on a big table, and like it feels very communal.
Absolutely.
Well, Jack, for anyone listening who maybe wants to learn more from you and learn more about the work that you guys do at LSU, where can people go next?
You can check us out on aggrc.com. That's our website. And if you're ever in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, reach out to us, and we do tours all the time with folks.
Oh, that's awesome. I also would like to give a shout out to the LSU Research Instagram, because they put out some really, really great, awesome videos of the work that you guys do. That was where I found you. I believe you were on one of their videos recently. And they sent me the video, and I was like, oh my gosh, we should totally do an episode on this. So the LSU Research page on Instagram they make really great videos. And that is, I believe, just at LSU Research. So I'll have links to everything in the episode description. So anybody who is curious and wants to see more can click through to that and go check out you guys' work.
And also thanks to the United States Department of Agriculture. They funded the crawfish work, and then our work is more broadly funded by the National Institutes of Health Office of Research Infrastructure Programs and the National Science Foundation. So we work with all these agencies to make what we do possible.
I'm glad to see work that is both supporting agriculture and supporting industry that is also working towards like sustainability and has a lot of applications for conservation too. Like I'm glad to see the intersection. I like to see the two working together.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Jack. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your knowledge and teaching me so much about crawfish. A lot of things surprised me. A lot of things were new to me. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks, Ellen. I had a great time.
I had a great time too. We'll talk to you later, Jack. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all so much for listening. I hope this episode has skittered and burrowed its way right into your heart. And if anyone tries to pull it out, they are getting pinched. If you liked what you heard, I would love it if you left behind some kind words for us in a review on your podcast app of choice. If you want to come hang out with us online, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Discord and Blue Sky. Links to everything will be in the episode description. You can also send me an email at ellen@justthezooofus.com if you have a cool animal you'd like to hear us talk about on the show. We would like to thank Maximum Fun for having us on their network alongside their other amazing shows like the ones that you heard promos for earlier this episode. You can go check those out and learn how you can be a part of supporting our show, plus get access to our exclusive monthly bonus episodes over at MaximumFun.org. Finally, we'd like to thank Louis Zong for our theme music. That's all for today. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
Supported
directly
by you.